What? That's true. Aha. Jai Shri Ram, World Racer, Sabina and Roger here. Let's watch 10 shocking differences between Valmiki Ramayana and Tulsi Das Ramcharit Manas.
As you know, we just finished watching the epic Ramayana and Saga's Ramayan, and we know that it was based on quite a few different versions. And of course, these two were the main ones, and then he blended them all together in this epic series full of devotion, full of wisdom, full of knowledge. But yeah, there was some differences, and of course it wasn't 100% based on just one scripture. So let's find out what the differences were.
Interesting.
Because we do know that one of them was written much before the other one, but the other one was accepted because of its incredible devotional content.
For the heart. Leave a like for the heart. For Lord Ram. For Lord Hanuman.
A 3-year study conducted based on the botanical facts confirmed that Ramayan is not a myth. But having said that, facts and historical accuracy has very little importance to a bhakt or a devotee.
That's true.
As the popularity of the original Ramayana shooted the sky, new versions of this story were being written in various languages. One of the versions, which is often referred by the Westerners as the Bible of Hindus, is the Ramcharit Manas, written by Goswami Tulsi Das.
Okay.
Ramayan was written by Valmiki in the Treta Yuga, the second in the series of Maha Yuga.
Oh.
It was referred as Adi Kavya, meaning the original or the first poem. Being the first of its kind, Valmiki was highly praised for his work, and Ramayana was well accepted by the scholars in society. On the other hand, when Tulsi Das completed his version, the Ramcharit Manas, in the 15th century AD, he was ridiculed by the Sanskrit Brahmins. One of the reasons of this criticism was that the original Ramayan was written in Sanskrit, which is considered to be the language of gods, whereas Tulsi Das's Ramcharit Manas was written in a local language called Awadhi. It is said that one evening a temple priest placed the Ramcharit Manas under a pile of 4 Vedas and 18 Puranas before the temple closed for the day. However, the next morning when the temple was unlocked, the priest found the book on top of all the Vedas and Puranas. This incident led to wide acceptance of Ramcharit Manas amidst the Hindu society.
Cool.
Up until this point, the Ramayana was only seen in temples and holy places. But when Ramcharit Manas was introduced, it occupied a place in every Hindu household because of people's familiarity with the language. Even though the core of the story is the same, Ramcharit Manas definitely has many instances that completely differ from the original Ramayan. Ram, an incarnation of Vishnu. To start with the most obvious difference, the Ramayana, literally meaning the journey of Ram, was a biography of Ram, which followed a bottom-to-top approach. Valmiki initially depicts Ram as a human who goes on to become a king and is later worshipped by all as God because of his values, morals, and deeds. He was called the Maryada Purushottam, meaning the man of supreme honor, whereas Tulsi Das's Ramcharit Manas portrays a story of a god who descends to earth. In his version, Ram and all the sages knew all along the way that he was an incarnation of Vishnu, but chose to stick to display only his human side as a part of his Leela. Every act of Ram has a deeper meaning in Ramcharit Manas to re-emphasize him as an incarnation of Vishnu. Wives of Dashratha. King Dashrath was the father of Ram, where in Ramayana, King Dashrath had 353 wives, 3 of which were his chief queens. In Ramcharit Manas, Dashrath had only 3 wives. The infamous Swayamvar of Sita. For the ones unfamiliar with this term, Swayamvar is an ancient Indian practice where a girl of marriageable age chooses her husband in a gathering of many suitors. Ramcharit Manas narrates the glorious event held by King Janak for his daughter Sita's Swayamvar, where he declared that whoever lifts the divine Dhanush of Lord Shiva and strings it will be married to his favorite daughter Sita. While many kings and royals failed to even move the bow an inch, Prince Ram was the only man to lift the Shiv Dhanush and did not just string it but also broke the Dhanush. The romance of Sita and Ram falling in love with each other at the first sight does not exist in this version. Entry of Parashuram.
Oh yeah.
In Tulsi Das Ramcharitmanas, when Ram broke the Shiv Dhanush, it caused a loud thundering sound, and Lord Parashuram appeared in the Swayamvar immediately, threatening the death upon the man who dared to break the bow. Janak tries to calm Parashuram and requests him to forgive Ram. But in Valmiki Ramayana, Lord Parashuram did not appear during the Swayamvar, but at the wedding of Ram and Sita. He threatened to kill Ram, to which his father, King Dashrath, begged for forgiveness and offered to take away his life instead. Lakshman Rekha. Everyone who has seen or heard the story of Ram knows about the popular episode of Lakshman Rekha, where Lakshman draws a line around the hut to ensure Sita's safety when he left in search of Ram. This Lakshman Rekha is known to symbolize the boundary that a woman should never cross. Interestingly, the story revolving Lakshman Rekha does not exist in the original version of Ramayana, but is quite elaborate in Ramcharitmanas.
What
Sita's
instead?
abduction. Where in Ramayana, it was the real Sita who was abducted by Ravan, Tulsi Das Ramcharitmanas is slightly different. In his version, Lakshman was offended when the talks of Sita undergoing an Agni Pariksha came up. Seeing his brother infuriated, Ram explains to Lakshman that it is not the real Sita who will be undergoing the Agni Pariksha, because Sita was not kidnapped in the first place. Sita was safe with Agni Dev, the god of fire, and the one that had been kidnapped was a mere reflection. Hanuman. Hanuman, the ambassador and the biggest devotee of Lord Ram, is perhaps one of the most fascinating characters, beautifully portrayed by Valmiki in Ramayana. But in his version, Hanuman was a human, a man from the tribe Vanar. Van meaning forest and Nar meaning man. So Vanar meant the forest men. A recent speculation of the Vanar actually being the Neanderthal men rose to fame, but the Ramcharitmanas explicitly mentions that the Vanar Sena were the monkey men. How and why were the Vanars represented as monkey is not known, but most definitely the essence of Hanuman's character and his bhakti took precedence over his body throughout Tulsi Das Ramcharitmanas. The fight between Ram and Ravan. In the Yuddha Kand, or the chapter of war, Ramcharitmanas mentions Ravan fighting against Ram on the very first day of the war, where he was defeated, disarmed and sent back with shame. It also talks about the rituals performed by Ravan seeking the blessings of goddess Durga to ensure his victory in the war against Ram. This ritual was later disrupted by a few members of the Vanar Sena. However, both of these incidents are not mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana. Killing of Ravan. In Valmiki Ramayana, Ram shot a single arrow that pierced the chest of Ravan, leading to his death. A very enhanced version of this killing is seen in Ramcharitmanas. In Tulsi Das's version, Ram shot multiple arrows to decapitate Ravan, but his efforts went in vain. Because of a boon that Ravan had obtained from the gods, every time the arrow beheaded him, a new head would grow out of his neck. Vibhishan came to Ram's rescue and guided him to target Ravan's navel, where he had stored his elixir of life. Ram was finally able to kill Ravan upon piercing an arrow through his navel. Uttarkand. But Ramcharitmanas takes it further with the exile of Sita, birth of her twin sons Love and Kush, and finally descending to Mother Earth. Most of us would agree that Uttarkand is perhaps the most beautiful and moving part of the entire Ramayana. It goes into the deep dark struggles of Sita as a single parent and the cruelty of a society towards its women, even if it is the queen of a kingdom.
What?
As much as we all want this to be a part of Valmiki Ramayana, it is not. It is also important to keep in mind that Tulsi Das lived in an age of Mughals, where people were afraid of the atrocities of Hindu, their religion, their temples, etc. Tulsi Das wrote Ramcharitmanas in order to regain the glorious past of our Sanatan Dharma in his very own way, to begin the chanting of Harinam in every house. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri
Jai
Ram.
Shri Ram.
Okay, so what does it mean? Sita was a single mother. Did Ram end his incarnation already when the twins were born?
We don't know because we have not watched that yet.
Okay.
So that's going to remain a mystery for now. No spoilers. If I do get comments about it, I'm not really going to relay them to Sabina because we're probably going to watch it someday. We're not going to watch it right now.
Not anytime soon.
So anyways, and then plus it looks like it wasn't part of the original Valmiki, and then I'm not disputing in any way saying that it's not authentic or anything like that, because it seems like, the Tulsi Das version was widely accepted and it became a part of history as well. And just looking at all these examples, it seems that in a lot of these key moments, the version that was mostly used in these particular situations, it was very clear. It was the Tulsi Das version, right? Yeah. Even the big battle with Ravan at the end, because I was wondering about that. Yeah, when we're writing these epics and creating something of substance for people to really get a feel for and become devotional and get attracted and attached to, maybe it almost seems like it kind of got spiced up a little bit, right? Because in my mind, Lord Ram, and that's the difference too, right? So in the Valmiki Ramayana, Lord Ram was basically a human, and then so nobody really knew that he was God incarnate. It was very much not just a secret, but possibly even he himself. I'm not too sure. But in that sense, you got a human Lord Ram was able to defeat Ravan with one arrow, right? Yeah,
which makes so much sense, to be honest.
Yeah, so God. So it was almost like he was more powerful as a god being a human in the first version than in the second version, where it took him a lot longer to defeat him as God. A little bit weird, but it doesn't matter, right? It's the devotion that's important, right? And understanding that in the end, it was all a divine play and it was God in human form. And then however you conceptualize and understand that, different versions, but made it way more accessible to the people, which is very important because honestly, that's how the Christian Bible spread globally, is that they started printing it in local languages, right? So it used to be the same. It was like guarded by the Vatican. It was only in Latin and nobody could read it other than the authorities. Yeah. But then as soon as it was made into other languages, so that's beautiful. And one thing I didn't know is that it's considered like the Hindu Bible. In my mind, I always considered it to be the Bhagavad Gita. But this is very cool, and it makes sense as well, because now that we've watched the Ramayana, we can see the incredible, profound wisdom in there.
My favorite part, guess which sentence? Friends, it was very much at the beginning, saying to a bhakti, to a devotee, all these historical facts and details don't really matter. And I just recognize myself in that a lot. It just doesn't really matter.
Good point, because that's very clear, and I think that's why the Tulsi Das version was so accepted, right? Because it made it accessible. It was probably shorter, more concise, more packed, with the love and devotional aspects of it. And then also at that time, it would have been well known that Lord Ram, in the end, was found out to be, the incarnation of Vishnu. So then this newer version was almost like, okay, well, we already know that, so let's just declare it at the beginning. And then we can do the whole epic from that point of view, which also, increases devotion, which is important, because that ultimately is what's important, right? We got to surrender, we got to be open, we got to be devotional towards the divine, and whichever form or non-form of the divine that you feel connected to is okay. It is our right as human beings, incarnated souls, to get on the path and discover a way for ourselves to journey upward and reconnect with God. Good video. Thank you so much for joining us. And the whole reason why we're watching such epics is to raise ourselves
and raise the world. Thank you so much, everyone. May Lord Ram bless you all.
Peace.